My name is Rebecca Mills, and I work for Utah State University Extension. And I'm going to just give you a rundown of where we're headed in the next 50 minutes. They tell us, all good 4-H'ers, you know that you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to introduce myself, and Rosalind will have a chance to introduce herself as well. I'm going to give you an overview of what Extension is. Extension is kind of some people call us the best kept secret, so I want to tell you a little bit about Extension and some projects that we have currently going on in reference to recycling, sustainability, some plans that we have in progress, and then open it up to figure out how what we are doing can benefit you in what you do and what your needs are that we can help with. So Roz, come on up.
Hi everyone, I'm Rosalind Brain, and I'll be talking for a few minutes during the presentation today and mainly discussing my efforts at USU as an extension specialist, and then also some work I have planned for extension with sustainability in the state for the next couple of years. And I'm excited. I'm very new to Utah State, started in August, and so this is a great opportunity to make some great changes happen with sustainability.
All right. A little bit more in depth about me and how I got into this. I've been in Utah for about 2 years with USU Extension. I grew up in Oregon, and I lived in Texas for part of that time. And I tell people a lot of time that I have milk jug guilt. And living in central Utah, I'm from Richfield, and we don't have any organized recycling efforts happening in central Utah, rural Utah. And when I came to Extension, I thought, wow, there's a really a large opportunity for me to make a difference in my area and maybe in the state. And Roz wasn't here then yet. And so when the position came open to hire a sustainability specialist or someone that would be working with sustainability, I got really excited because that meant I had a contact on campus that I'd be able to work with. And so we've just barely started conversing back and forth about how what I'm doing at the county level and what she's doing at the university level can make a difference. So the extension service, and I came down here in a rush because today and tomorrow is also our annual extension conference. So all the extension faculty from the counties are on campus today and tomorrow. And we just this morning had an amazing presentation about the fact that in 2012 we're celebrating the sesquicentennial, so the 150th anniversary of the governmental act that made the extension service come to be, which is the Morrill Act of 1862. So in the middle of the Civil War era, President Lincoln found time to sign this very important document. And what it meant was, at that time and previous to that time, higher education was for the privileged. If you had money, if you came from a certain demographic, a certain socioeconomic class, you could have access to higher education. And essentially the Morrill Act made the way for the establishment of the land-grant university system, which means that every state in the nation was given a piece of land to establish a university. And the mission of that university is not only research and teaching, but extension. And what that means is in each of those states, there's a cooperative agreement between the land-grant university and the county government. And essentially, I am a university faculty member, but I work in the county. So the county provides me an office space and some budget to do programming in their county, and the university provides me all the research-based knowledge I could ever want to provide to the people. And that's the big mission of the land-grant system, is that we're providing education, research-based information to the general public. You don't have to have any special background to receive this education. It's open to everybody and anybody, and most often there's not a whole lot of strings attached, meaning that it's usually free because of those great connections. So there's several different areas of emphasis, and every state has different emphasis. So I worked in Oregon for a while as an extension agent, just specifically with the 4-H youth programs. And in Oregon, we had a Sea Grant program, because we had an ocean. In Utah, we don't have that, so we don't have a Sea Grant program, but we have agriculture and horticulture and family and consumer sciences, which they used to call us home agents. We do everything from home food preservation and nutrition and finance, all kinds of things, everything that can deal with a consumer in their home. And the 4-H Youth Development Program is our youth component. It's the largest youth organization in the nation, and we have that great connection with the university. So really great stuff comes out of the Extension Service. That's just part of why I wanted to highlight this, is if you haven't gotten connected with the Extension office in your county, there is one in every county in the state, and in most states across the nation. Due to budget cuts, some states have had to consolidate, but the only county, I guess I should take that back, Daggett County, Utah, does not have an Extension presence, but they're shared with Uinta County and Vernal, so the Flaming Gorge folks aren't left off the end of the world. And in Utah, sustainability is up and coming in Extension. Not all Extension programs have something just titled sustainability. And we don't really either, necessarily. We have a sustainability specialist, but there isn't a sustainability extension agent like me. I'm family consumer science and 4-H. A lot of us are split appointments. But what Roz gets to do is pull from what everybody's doing in all those different areas and see how it relates to sustainability. And so I'm kind of it. As far as the county goes, and that's partly because I'm new, and I had the opportunity in the last 2 years to choose what I was going to do, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but we call them flagships. One of my main focus areas, and I'm calling it the 4 R's, reduce, reuse, repurpose, recycle, and you can call it the 5 R's because you're going to do it with Rebecca. And we have a lot of fun with that with the kids, and Rosalind's my contact for campus. So just to highlight some of the things, as I said, I have milk jug guilt. I came to Central Utah, and in our area there's Green Fiber has some paper bins, but we've been told that those are going to be pulled out here pretty soon, so we're going to have to figure out what to do with that. Walmart takes our grocery bags. Home Depot will take our light bulbs. The Pennzoil place will take your oil. That's kind of it. There's no organized infrastructure in place, and I set out with an educational purpose. There's politics and government things that need to fall in place, business things that's not my job. My job is to educate, and so that's where my motivation came, and I started some conversations, and I have some really crafty staff in the 4-H program, and so we started this Dumpster Diva project, and my cohort and I are the Dumpster Divas, and this is essentially the repurpose aspect. We have a whole lot of fun with the kids making creative things out of stuff that we can't recycle because we don't have a recycling program in our area. And this has become a huge thing, and we're actually doing we have a program on Friday afternoons once a month, and in March, because 4-H, I don't know if you've ever seen the clover's green, and so St. Patrick's Day is green, clovers, all that kind of stuff. So on Friday, March 16th, our Fab Friday activity, which we have plans for about 100 kids to attend, all the projects will be recycled projects. And so the kids are getting a little bit of it. I can't get them too excited, though, because they can't actually recycle, but they can craft, and they can craft and craft and craft. So the Dumpster Diva project. Community interest meetings. So this is kind of the boring adult side of things. The kids get to have all the fun, and then some of the work that I'm doing with organizing this, trying to pull this infrastructure together. I have a small committee, there's 4 of us, and we just put the word out to our communities in our 6-county area. We're trying to focus on this central Utah region because it's rural, and a lot of this things can be replicated because our communities are similar. And in October, we had these 2 community interest meetings, and all we said was, come to this meeting and tell us what you need, what your ideas may be, how can we move forward. And we had a lot of businesses, like the metal recyclers in the area attend. There are metal recyclers. I guess I left that off my list earlier. And the basically what we came out of that meeting is we just need to survey the people. And so Roz has some experience in that she's in the surveying and understanding why people adopt new things. And that's where we're really at. I mean, Southern Utah's recycling, Wasatch Front, Northern Utah's recycling. What about us in the middle? There's things that we can learn from you guys that are already established, but we do need to connect with our people so that they know that we're doing it because they want us to do it, not just because it's some milk jug guilt lady has an agenda about. So we had these meetings. It was really positive. There was 40 people all together between the two meetings, and that was positive. And the next step is moving forward with this interest survey. Some of the educational campaigns that we've done, and I'm excited to be here so I can hear and learn from the stuff that other people are doing. We had got a copy of the curriculum from the Southern Utah folks, and we have a little elementary school in Piute County in Marysville that they did recycling projects with their kids, and I had an e-recycle day. We have a natural resource festival last year it was in May, and I brought down, MetTech came down and we did a collection day there. It wasn't huge, super successful as far as tons of people bringing their stuff, but when it's the first time anybody's seen it, I didn't have high expectations because I knew I'm breaking into a new area of thinking for people. But there was people that would be like, oh, I missed it. When are you going to have another one? And so I know from the conversations that have happened, just from me getting the word out there, we had a great coverage in our local newspaper about these community interest meetings. And so I've had an influx of calls in my office. Oh, you're the recycling lady, right? So I was on the radio a year ago, and I got a call just the other day from a lady, an elderly lady, and she says, you were on the radio last year, right? And I was like, yeah, I think so, sure. And I'm usually on the radio every month. And she's like, no, but talking about recycling. I was like, oh yeah, it was to promote my event. And she's like, well, I decided to prove a point. And I said, what's that? She goes, after you said that, we really could make a difference in recycling, I decided to save all of the plastic bottles that us elderly folks use, pill bottles. And anyway, she says, they're lining my hallway in my house. And my husband's starting to complain that he trips over them when he goes to the bathroom in the middle of the night. and it's just like, what do I do with them? I'm like, I don't know what to do with them. And so we had to figure out some way to help her. But she says, I just wanted to let you know that I can be a spokesperson for you because I've realized that, wow, I mean, they're 2 feet high, 10 feet long on two sides of a hallway, and that's in 8 months' time or something like that. So it hit home to her, and I have a feeling that the recycling in our area is going to bust wide open one of these days. County commissioners have been talking to me about it because we recently had a landfill meeting hosted in Richfield for people from around the state, and so the landfills are starting to think e-scrap, and the commissioners came to me and said, okay, so what do we do about this? I need to start thinking about this. So I'm excited about things that are happening in our county that can be replicated in rural areas. Okay, I'm going to turn it to Roz to talk about the things that she has going on at the university.
So it worked out perfectly when I moved here to find out where Rebecca was at with her efforts, because what I do, my training is in behavioral theory. So I look at why do certain people recycle when other people's do not, etc. I look at the basics of people's values and all of that. Then I do barrier benefit analyses to see what are the barriers to a certain behavior, pro-environmental behavior like recycling. There's a lot of barriers people have, especially when there's not an infrastructure available. And then the benefits to that behavior, and I try and minimize the barriers and maximize the benefits. And then you also look at what people are currently doing, and you maximize the barriers and minimize the benefits to that current behavior, and that's just social marketing research. And then what I do from there is I use social marketing techniques like prompts, communication, etc., to foster pro-environmental behaviors. And so just to go with the slide about the course on campus, right now I teach sustainable living at Utah State University, and I was really honored to have the opportunity to teach this course. And I've taught my students exactly the skills that I just described to you and put them in charge of implementing a pro-environmental initiative across campus. And actually, one of my students is here today. Liz is sitting in the front row, and she's working with a group to try and implement a free store on campus, because every year, as all of you know, on campuses, students move away and leave a ton of furniture, et cetera, in dumpsters. And so I have a student group in my class working to try and get that started, learning all the barriers, et cetera, to starting even an initiative like that, but also the barriers people have to engaging in something like a free store. And so I don't know that the free store is going to happen this year, but we're looking at starting a donation drive and then having a booth every fall semester where students can pick up products from students the previous semester, and then we'll gather those products at the end of the semester on a twice a year basis. And so that's kind of where we're at right now with that. But it's a lot of fun to teach this type of a course, and other student groups in my class are working on a bike walk to school campaign, a cross-campus recycling campaign, and there's also a carpooling campaign to Beaver Mountain, which is right near Utah State University. And other initiatives are bring your own mug bottle to school and an energy reduction campaign in the dorms. And so it's just really great to see all of the passion the students have to implementing pro-environmental initiatives on campus. We're right now in the survey phase where we're looking at people's barriers and perceived barriers and benefits to the behaviors we're looking at, and then we're going to go ahead and the full launch of the social marketing campaign on campus and try and make some changes happen. And so if any of you are interested in more about the course, I've got a syllabus copy up here about sustainable living. And then also a news update from Utah State. We just got approval a few days ago for the new sustainability minor, and they're still working on the details for that minor. It's called Sustainable Systems right now. And one of the new courses that will be coming through that they asked me to teach is called Communicating Sustainability. And so this is the draft syllabus from that class, and I'd be happy to talk to anyone about that. But it's going to be basically what we're doing right now on campus, but extended out to the broader community, so a very hands-on application of trying to make change happen. And so again, going back to Rebecca, it works out perfectly, my skill base, where I can plug in and help her doing the survey and trying to come up with effective messaging that hits people's core values. A lot of times, as all of us in this room are interested in environmental issues, we tend to think that people want to act altruistically. The reason that if you ask someone, why do you recycle? Almost 100% of the time they'll say, because I want to help the environment. But research shows that in reality that people will recycle more often than not because of norms. If they see someone else recycling, then they feel more obligated that they should recycle as well. And so looking at all that, taking all that into account and starting at these initiatives is really important. So I not only look at why do people think they act a certain way, but what does the research show in reality as well, and then use all of that data to come up with effective messaging to implement these changes. And so I'll switch it back over to Rebecca for a few minutes, and then do you want me to talk about extension now, the stuff I have planned for? Sure. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'll just kidding, I'll keep talking for a second. But I'll let Rebecca talk about the fact sheets, because I think this is really great, a project she's working on with recycling. But I do want to mention a website that I am currently, right now, I'm just in the data collection phase for this website. So any of you that have looked at publications on your spare time in the extension website would know that it's very hard to navigate and find anything in there. The search engine is just not very effective the way it's set up right now. And so there actually has been some great stuff happen in extension with sustainability throughout the state, and my goal is to develop a USU extension website that features sustainable initiatives. And so I'm hoping the website will look something like Montana State's energy efficiency website, and I'll just show that to you right now. So this website to me is very user-friendly. This is energy efficiency for the home and farm. And so if you click on any of these, like let's click on this icon here for biodiesel, and then you click on biodiesel, there's a brief definition about it, and then you can go in and look at fact sheets on biodiesel. So here's an example of an extension fact sheet on that exact topic, and they're just really well put together, and I'm hoping that by having one clearinghouse for extension sustainability in the state, it'll be a lot more user-friendly for the public. And so this is going to be a project I'm working on next year, but right now I have a student working for me gathering what have extension agents and specialists already done in the state regarding sustainability. There's a lot on native pollinators and composting, et cetera, but no one knows about it because the search engines aren't very effective at the moment. And so I plan on having the main website look like that main website on E3A for you with Montana State. Let me just exit out of here. Okay, so that main website where you saw the icons in a circle, I want to show the website like that with land, air, water, and then I'm debating also having a separate, because there's so much on food and energy being their own icons. And if you click on one, let's say you click on food, that would come to the forefront, and around that would be farmers markets, CSAs, et cetera, and linked to those common websites like CSA Utah, Local First Utah, all of that, but have one clearinghouse for extension so that agents can use it efficiently and the public can as well. And then also, just to go back to this one slide, the Master Conservationist Program is something that Rebecca and I have talked about that's just in the idea phase right now, but we're mentioning a lot of the barriers that the public has in Utah regarding engaging in common pro-environmental behaviors. And something as simple as bringing your own bag to the store, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, but it sounds easy, but all of you know that it's hard to remember to bring that darn bag to the grocery store. And so just having fun tips on how do you remember to do that, et cetera, but doing it in more of a hands-on workshop type approach. And so right now, we're not positive we're going to call it the Master Conservationist Program, but it would be several different workshops featuring the R's. I guess I would be the 6R on that one. And so, yeah, Rebecca and Rosalind now. And so it'll be really great to do something like this and launch it throughout the state. Oregon has a type of program that's a Master Recycler Program. And so there are programs like this in other states, and just kind of tweak and steal from what other people have done and expand it out to a comprehensive set of workshop series for the general public about pro-environmental behaviors. And I'll pass it back over.
Thanks. Just a mention about this master conservation idea. If you're familiar with extension at all, you might have heard of master gardeners or master food preservers. And that concept is deeply rooted in extension. And the idea is that there's a body of knowledge, these fact sheets or curriculums, whatever the information is, and faculty like myself bring a bunch of interested citizens, adults, youth, whoever, together, and they receive certain training, and then they receive the training out of this body of knowledge, and then those volunteers go and spread that information to the people who are interested in hearing it. And it essentially extends the reach of us, because there's not very many of me, and there's not very many extension programs in general, extension faculty, and so extension really utilizes our volunteers. And so the Master Recycler, Master whatever programs are rooted in the idea that you can, by arming those volunteers with knowledge, then they can help extend the reach of whatever program initiative you're talking about. All right, this is where we get to you, and I want to hear from you. Extension, we try to do things based off the needs assessments in our communities, or what we feel can be useful, or what people tell us they need. So any of the things that we have talked about, and feel free to just shout it out there. Oh yeah, fact sheets, I forgot. Talk about my fact sheets. I set out to develop that body of knowledge a year ago, and randomly connected. So I work for USU. I got connected with BYU, and the Bill Rudy at BYU gave me access to one of his student employees, and that student employee did some research for me. And I think there's 10 fact sheets in development right now. The intern's done his job. He's actually graduated and moved on to greater things in life, and he finished them and he sent them all to me, and now they're waiting for me to put the final university touches on them so that I can put them through our university fact sheet system. And what our goal there was to develop materials based on the commodities that are being recycled. So, and a fact sheet, I don't know, that might be a buzzword for USU Extension or USU. A fact sheet is something that we write that we have peer reviewed, and then it's available on our website, which currently isn't very user friendly, and working on that. And they are written in such a way that the members of the general population, that whole extending the research base to the general population, can utilize. So these fact sheets are written in layman's terms. Their intention is to, if somebody says, well, why should I? When somebody says, we're going to recycle, well, why should I? So these fact sheets have elements of what are the environmental impacts of recycling, and they're built by commodities. So there's a paper, glass, plastic, metal, green waste, electronic waste. There's 9 of them, and I can't remember off the top of my head. Industrial waste, like concrete and building materials, those kind of things. And then there's one that I've written on just defining what does reduce, reuse, and recycle mean, and how does it apply to me? Like, what would it, if I'm going to turn off the water in my house while I'm brushing my teeth, you know, what good does that do? So there's this fact sheet just about the words to know. And so those are the fact sheets. Now back to this question. How can any of the things that we've talked about be useful for you in your current situation? I know they're not done yet, so they can't be useful for you in your current situation, if that's what you're thinking. When we get them finished, can they be useful to you? Any applications? Thank you. Okay, so she's a student. She's on the Blue Grows Green team at USU, and she said that using when the website becomes more user friendly, that'll really help her find what she needs to know, so she can share it with other people. She's part of that army of volunteers. It's interesting, when I told Roz about this master recycler, when we started talking about that, my mind was thinking community based, and her mind was thinking student university based. So it might have application on both when it all comes together. There'll be a component that you can use in your communities, and then a component for university settings as well. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you couldn't hear in the back, he encourages us to add an element into our master recycler program on how to help people sell it kindly, break into that, so it's not such a hard topic. And that's something I wanted to mention about that, about the master recycler. There's also, so we teach them, and then in order to pay back essentially the knowledge that they've been given, they're expected a certain number of hours of service, which could be, marketing the program or setting up some kind of day, an event of some kind. Do you have something? Yes. That's a good question. Okay, so I'm an extension agent and I get calls all the time about canning, or I get calls all the time about gardening. And so for me or my horticulture compadre in my office to start a master food preserver or a master gardener program to help answer some of those questions is a no-brainer. Since I'm kind of on the bleeding edge of talking about this as an extension faculty in the county, not very many of my colleagues are just going to readily offer this as something they offer. But what will probably happen, I'm guessing, is that if you go to your county and say, I want this in my county, they'll call me. And so it'll have to be some kind of structure where, there's trained volunteers that go other places, because I won't be able to go to every county and do a master recycler training. But hopefully there will be elements of this that are available online and available at a distance, modules and information that you can receive and put into practice in your area, even if your extension faculty member isn't able to pick it up and run with it. Because that was something early on that I was like, my colleagues are going to say, you're going to add one more thing to my plate? No, thank you. It's great, but you can keep it. And that's just a testament to the fact that we were all so crazy busy and we all have so many things on our plate. So your extension faculty will know about it, because everybody in the state kind of chuckles that I'm the recycler. I mean, even at this meeting I was just at lunchtime, we passed out all this paperwork, agendas and minutes and flyers about this coming up and that, and somebody says, Rebecca, you're going to pick all these up at the end of the meeting so it can be recycled? So they know who I am, and if they don't have the answer, they'll find me. These two gentlemen right over here have questions. That's so cool. Sorry. You had some comment down here. Yeah.
Is one of your fact sheets going to give a definition of a master recycler?
I can write one.
So that people know what they've got to do to become a master recycler?
Absolutely. And that'll be probably part of the marketing piece that goes together, and when we get all that together in trying to sell the program, not sell the program, but advertise to get people on board to be part of it. That's a good idea. Thank you. Go ahead. And is there anything that's come up as you've thought about this that can be helpful if your county, if you want to do something like this in your county, that we can filter through the extension service or develop at the state level or at the county level that would be useful to you? That's my other question. Yes. Very good. That's the kind of stuff that Extension does. What's the practical application of all this stuff that we talk about research with? Very cool. Is she writing this down? Anybody writing this down? So websites, books, movies, things that we can have families access. Come on up here and use the mic.
I'm really glad the last question came up about the mystery of recycling. There's so much confusion about, do you take the lid off? Do you have to rinse your bottle out? Do you have to take a paper label off a plastic bottle so it can go in the plastic bottle bin? All that confusion. And actually, that's something we talk about in my class, and it's very a practical thing that people need to know. And this year, USU, I'm helping coordinate the first annual Earth Week on campus in combination with the Student Sustainability Office. And the first day of Earth Week is land themed, and so recycling is a big part of that. And we're hoping to have a recycling Mythbusters booth where we teach students we take away the mystery of recycling. So the recycling center from the university will be there and answering student questions, having fun trivia stuff at that booth about what do you need to do to prepare a product to be recycled, what is recyclable on campus, etc. Because that is a huge barrier, is that awareness of what's recyclable. And as far as reaching out to kids, I think that's a great idea, and is really lacking right now are some kids' books on that exact topic, on any pro-environmental behavior, but recycling in particular. So you just gave me a great idea for a lot of fact sheets with the mystery of recycling. And that's one of my student assignments at the end of the semester in sustainable living, is instead of a final exam, they have to write a fact sheet based on their topics. And I know what I'm going to have my recycling group focus on now. So thank you.
So his question is if we write fact sheets for kids. I wrote one just recently that was geared towards things that kids do in their 4-H club. So if there's any fact sheets that are geared towards kids, it's worked through the 4-H program. And that's something, it's just an interesting audience. Whenever we think kids and extension, we think 4-H, because that's the 4-H. The 4-H is the youth component of the extension service. But and the Dumpster Diva project, that has the works are being laid to make that a curriculum that can be shared, because I presented at a regional conference, and some ladies in Idaho were like, this is so awesome, we're going to totally do this in 4-H in Idaho. So but that's projects, those are things that's and there's informational things that go with the how-to part, but I don't know, see why we couldn't. Yeah, because I think when we think kids, we think 4-H, and 4-H and sustainability haven't probably been meshed together very much, if ever. So. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, even our rural kids aren't all doing the agriculture stuff too. 4-H has become very progressive in reaching different groups of people and where they're at. It's the 100th anniversary of 4-H in Utah this year, actually, and Oreos. I found out yesterday at Walmart. So, any other ideas of other things that might be useful for what you do? I think I have questions there. Any other questions in general? Otherwise, we're wrapping up. Just a note at the back 2 doors, there's bags of bags. If you want to promote the program, or you need another one of these, I don't know, put it in your car and then take it home and then forget to put it back in your car, whichever you're going to try to utilize these great resources we have. And I have some of my business cards here as well. If there's something that I can do, connect you with who your county office folks are for any of the other stuff that happens in Extension, I can help you get there. And be aware of that. USU and Extension are hoping to be a resource for good in your community, wherever that is in the state of Utah. And those things are replicatable in other states as well, because Extension is everywhere. So thank you for your time.